There you go. Oh, don't bite me. What are you biting me for?
Goodness.
What's wrong with you? Okay. Hello. I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And this is Bean. And you're watching The Night Owl. So excuse me if I pet the cat. I was actually working a new job. I am a brand promoter for Leaf Guard. Represent Chicago, Leaf Guard. They are a company that sells the best rated and patented gutters for houses. So they can take about 32 pound or inches. I think it's 32 inches of water every hour, which is amazing. And yeah, they kind of work as more of a toilet, how they would flush water and debris from your home instead of like draining, where, you know, we want to make sure people are safe and they're not getting on a ladder and cleaning their gutters. So I was there all day today. I was at the Northern Illinois Sports Show, and it was at the county like fairgrounds and in Grades Lake. So it was really fun. I mean, definitely interesting to be able to do a vending and promoting position. I've always thought it was interesting going to festivals or conventions where you see lots of people selling amazing products based on the theme or the subject that they were representing. So it was fun.
Yeah, that's cool.
So I was gone for a while, so she's just she wants me to pet her. So I apologize for that. But Happy New Year, guys. It's been a while since we recorded again, and we're very excited to be able to talk to you guys. We switched to StreamYard, which has better quality for you guys. I was getting tired of using Melon because on the screen it would look great, but then I would go and look at the website, our platforms, and it would be very pixelated, very just gross.
And as you all know, right, is not only is she the talent, but she's also the
I don't edit the videos anymore, but I want to make sure the quality is good. And that's not fair to you guys. So if you guys are new, I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And this is the Night Owl Chicago, an all-inclusive podcast that talks about music, art, and life, and everything in between. So, yeah, like what Matthew was saying, I kind of do everything. I mean, recently I've stopped editing the videos because we have a lot of videos that I've edited. We just recorded it and then I would edit them. But now it's the live stream is where it's at. People, don't want to always click on a video and watch it. And the videos can be done a lot quicker because we just live stream and then that's it. So I think it saves me time, and it's still, in the queue. It's in the, in our history. So you can go back and watch the whole thing. If you can't watch, if you can't stay for the whole hour, half hour, 20 minutes. But yeah, I switched to StreamYard, and they've been around for quite a long time. They're created by people who are editors and, in that industry. But yeah, the quality is so much better. Matthew, I've actually been using it to stream my music.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, so as you guys know, I make music now. I've been making music for a while, but I've had some DJ gigs up until the new year. And if you guys are in Chicago, come to Reed's. I'll be playing there every other Thursday night from 9 to 12. So that's going to be my official, I guess I'm going to be training there to play, and hopefully it'll be a residency because it's a local bar. It's not a club, and the people there are cool. The people that show up there are cool.
I hope so. Anybody in the area, please.
Yeah, it's called Reed's Local.
Reed's Local. It's a very cool space.
Yeah, it's
very
amazing.
Chill space.
It's a cool divey bar, and everyone's nice. They believe in people not being assholes, which is our mantra.
Exactly. There, it's got quite a bit of space there, and
they do karaoke.
And they do, other nights there. Yeah, you said, other nights they got karaoke going on.
Yeah, and they have Fridays. They have other DJs as well.
So, like I said, it's a cool, safe space. Like I said, you might think of it as a divey kind of type bar.
Yeah, they allow animals. You can bring your dog, your cat.
But, I would say it's a clean space.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, definitely don't think of it as a
no.
Place.
It's always in good shape.
It's very nice.
Because he and I used to go there just as patrons. So when I was DJing, I figured, you know what, I want to reach out to people, to venues that I've been to. Obviously, Smart Bar is not on the list because I'd rather go there as a patron, and I'm not really there as like, I don't think I'm qualified yet, but I'd like to be able to play at collectives. Like there's a collective that I played at that's, you know, representing all different types of artists. So that'll be happening more often in Wicker Park. So I'm just trying to get a handle of maybe playing my music at collectives, which I respect more because it's a collective of artists. It's usually invite only, so it's another like safe space. And then Reed's is just chill. Like I could DJ and I don't care if people aren't dancing. It's just I want to create an atmosphere for people. But on that note, I was actually streaming a lot. I started streaming on Twitch, which StreamYard goes to Twitch. It goes to any social platform that you have. And I've just been practicing. And so watching my streams from StreamYard, my streams have been pretty clear and pretty crispy. So I cut ties with Melon and I jumped onto StreamYard. It doesn't even cost any more than what I was paying for Melon. And yeah, I really like it. So we're going to start our first video episode now for the new year. And this is our 100th episode, by the way.
Oh!
And I count it as a merge of video and audio. So the next time that we record our audio, it'll be our 101 episode, because I figure I was kind of separating our audio episodes with our videos because we started our audio in 2020, which is crazy now that it's been 2 years. We have way more platforms now. We're on Pandora as well, and any other place that you can get your podcast. And we've reached 16 as the youngest age, all the way up to 65 for the oldest age. And yeah, so
we love that.
We're reaching new heights now.
I mean, we love that.
And then, by the way, there might only be certain episodes on our Anchor or Spotify, or iTunes, wherever you hear podcasts. There might be some episodes that are subscription only, but it's only like $1. So if you guys can support us and pay 99 cents or $1, you'll be able to hear some of those episodes.
And whatever else.
Cracking down.
Yeah, I mean, whatever else too. So that's awesome.
So as you guys know, we've had some deaths, celebrity deaths. Recently, obviously, the most recent was Bob Saget. I saw a meme of the Ripper like playing those like claw games, and he was like, please beat Keith Richards, please beat Keith Richards. And he's like, oh man, I got Bob Saget. So like, and then there's another meme where it shows the house from Full House and it says like Full House, but it's like scratched out and it says like vacancy available or something. Like, it's just, there's so many memes that are like so bad and so like funny about Bob Saget, because he was funny. Like, he probably would have laughed.
I mean, he was funny. I mean, if you not seen a lot of their latest news, especially I think one of the latest YouTube is where John Mayer and Jeff Ross go to pick up his car from the LA airport.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. After his passing, obviously,
because he was doing a show, right?
Yeah,
and then he died that night,
right? I mean, they found him tucked into his bed there.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty sad there,
and they don't know right how he died yet. I thought, me and Matt thought for sure, and this sounds terrible, but we thought for sure it was a drug overdose. But they're saying it's not suicide, and they're saying it's not a drug overdose. There was no drugs in the system.
It looks like it potentially is just natural.
It's just natural causes. He was 65 years old. Like, you have to be honest. The mortality rate within humans in America is anywhere from 50 to 90. So yeah, there's a big spectrum there, but it's just however you lived your life. I mean, everyone has an expiration date, so there's no like specific day, time, or year that you should pass. It's just however your body is, right? So it's just whatever caught up to him. And I mean, he could have had a silent heart attack. He could have had a stroke. We don't know. He could have his heart could have just stopped moving, stopped pumping blood. So, but I know before this, we wanted to record last week, and there's just been a lot that I was doing, and Matthew was gone a lot. So we decided to do it today. But I know that everyone was talking about Betty White passing away before the new year. And then we talked about how you said you wanted to like have a spin-off. Like, you wanted to have a Golden Girls show before they were Golden Girls, like before they all met each other. And
well, I mean, I just think that it's interesting. By the way, I bring that up because, are they not doing that with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? They are rebooting that with a much harder edge. And I recently see here that I think it was Jimmy Fallon. Maybe it was Jimmy. No, maybe I don't know if it was Jimmy Fallon. Maybe it was ABC.
I think it was Jimmy Fallon.
Somebody had a basically a version of Alf, if you don't remember, the 80s sitcom starring the alien there.
Oh, yeah.
Supposed a harder version of that. But, what I'm saying is, I mean, honestly, really, why not? I mean, a reboot, a harder take of the Golden Girls.
They do it with everything else.
But they do it with everything
They did it with like, young Sheldon, and, I mean, why not? Why shouldn't they? Because people of all generations know the Golden Girls.
I mean, it could be very entertaining. I mean, I'm going to eventually bring up a show here that I'm extremely excited about.
What's that?
Eventually, as far as kind of what you're watching and kind of, I think is a very entertaining show. Why can't, before the Golden, we ended up bringing that up, right? That they kind of maybe jinxed poor Betty White.
Oh. Well, remember everyone did that to Michael Jackson, and then Michael Jackson died like a few years later too. I mean, there's always like that thing where people are saying, "Oh, they died," and it's like, "Oh no, that's just a joke." But I don't think you should joke about people dying. Like it's kind of morbid. So I came across this meme. Well, it's not really a meme, but it's like a message. It says, on Betty White's 100th birthday, January 17th, everyone should pick a local rescue or an animal shelter in your area and donate just $5 in Betty White's name. Make her 100th birthday the movement that she deserves. And I thought this was a kind of a cool message because, so it's hashtag Betty White Challenge. So I'll type it in here. Hashtag Betty White Challenge. And you guys will do that because, she was a huge animal activist. So honestly, the people that really suffer the most is the activist community, the animal community. She was really a force in that industry. I mean, she believed in people not abusing animals. She was actually part of the movement of people being punished if they hurt animals in any way.
Yeah, go ahead and post that. Yeah, let's go ahead and.
So let's do the Betty White Challenge. I'm going to put that in the chat. And then hashtag Betty White Challenge. So yeah, everyone should go to a local shelter or rescue and in your area and donate. You can donate more than $5 if you want, but do it in her name and make it so that, make it count. Because that's the biggest thing that I think she'd want. And then there was another meme that was saying, like, no one can masturbate because Betty White is watching, like no one can do anything bad. And I'm like, she's about giant taking a mountain that they're stronger than penises, I mean, she was the one that said that, like, vaginas are strong because they can take a pounding.
She did say
that. And she was young when she said that. She was not old. She was young. So there's an article because people wanted to know, like, how she died, right? And what people were saying that it was COVID, which I thought was really weird, which I guess makes sense because a lot of people are getting it, and even just people in our neighborhood are getting it. But this is from iHeartRadio, which, hello iHeartRadio. Our podcast is also on iHeartRadio. So it says that Betty White died from natural causes. Her agent confirmed in a statement to the Associated Press on Monday, which was January 3rd. So this was a few weeks ago. It says that they denied false reports that Betty White had died after receiving a booster shot on December 28th. So they're like trying to push this narrative that she died from the booster shot, which I'm sure people have complications from booster shots, especially if you're older. But it says just, 3 days prior, she got this booster shot before she passed away. It says, quote, Betty died peacefully in her sleep at her home. People are saying that her death was related to getting a booster shot 3 days earlier, but this is not true, her agent said. She died of natural causes. Her death should not be politicized. This is not the life that she lived, which wasn't. I mean, as when Matthew and I talked about her on our podcast before, this was before she died. This was the week she died, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys want to go back and watch that, it's on our Facebook, our last live stream. And I was talking about like cool and fun facts that people may not have known about her that really like made her the person that people remember her by. And one of them that stuck with me was how progressive she was in the movement of like Black Lives Matter, and letting people that were of color and people that were gay like associate with her, and not giving a shit about what people said. And even if the show told her like, oh, you can't do that, she was just like, I don't care. Like, so sometimes it's not generational. Sometimes it's just some people are assholes and some people aren't. And ignorance is not, innocence. Like, if you choose to be ignorant, it's a choice. It's if you don't want to be educated, especially during that time, she was a driving force in that. So it says the rumor stemmed from a fabricated quote in which White was reported to have told the news outlet, "Eat healthy and get your vaccines. I just got boosted today." So on Friday, December 31st, her agent initially confirmed that White's death in a statement issued to People magazine. Even though Betty was about to be 100, I thought she would have lived forever, which, I mean, I thought she would live forever. I will miss her terribly, and so will the animal world that she loved so much. And I'm guessing that when she passed away, she went to that Rainbow Bridge. It's only the animals that get to go to the Rainbow Bridge, but she got a VIP. Okay, the animals were summoning her. They were like, "We need you up here. Like, we need you to sort this out up here. We need you to protect this." So it says, I will miss her terribly. I don't think Betty ever feared passing because she always wanted to be with her most beloved husband, Alan Loudon. She also believed that she would be with him again. I can't read that. It says White was featured on a People magazine cover story last week, ahead of what would have been her 100th birthday on January 17th. So in just 3 days, she would have been 100. It says, I'm so lucky. This is what she said. She said, I'm so lucky to be in such good health and feel so good at this age. White said during the recent interview, it's amazing. And then it said, Betty White, 100 years young, a birthday celebration will air as originally planned. So be on the lookout for that show. It says it's going to be Betty White, 100 years young, a birthday celebration. So it might be this weekend that it'll come out. It says that the event's producers, Stephen Bocher and Mike Tricklin, confirmed to the New York Post. And so they said, our hearts are mourned today with the passing of Betty White. During the many years we worked with her, we developed a great love and admiration for Betty as a person and as an accomplished entertainer. The producer said, we are thankful for the many decades of delight she brought to everyone. Betty always said that she was the luckiest broad on 2 feet to have had a career as long as she did. And honestly, we were the lucky ones to have had her for so long. The upcoming birthday special is scheduled to include Ryan Reynolds, Tina Fey, Chicago native, Robert Redford, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Clint Eastwood, Morgan Freeman, Jay Leno, Carol Burnett, Craig Ferguson, Jimmy Kimmel, Valerie Bertinelli, James Corden, Wendy Millick, I don't know who Wendy Millick is, and Jennifer Love Hewitt. And I think these are actually, honestly, all people that have acted with her too in the past.
It would seem like it, right?
Because I think Jennifer Love Hewitt was in Hotlanta with her. Betty White's legendary entertainment career spanned 80 years. I mean, who besides Clint Eastwood, I would say maybe he's up there too, right? Which included notable television roles as Mary Tyler Moore Show, Golden Girls, and more recently, Hot in Cleveland. That's what it was, Hot in Cleveland, among numerous others. The multiple time Emmy Award winner's last credited acting role came in the 2019 television short series Forky Asks a Question. Remember Forky from Toy Story? There was the older kid, that was the original kid in Toy Story. Then he had a sister, and the sister made Forky. Like, he was like a craft, right? Craft project. So it says that she revived the character Bitey White from the film Toy Story 4. Yeah, so that's all I got as far as Betty White, but I really think that, you guys should just go to your shelter, donate some money in her name, keep her alive, keep her memory alive. I mean, 80 years is a long time to be on TV and just be an entertainment and be a celebrity. That's a long fucking time. And I guess Bob Saget's got 40 years, so Yeah, that's a long time. What did you have to say about Betty White? Like, what do you think about the fact that she led this crazy career? I mean, she had so much going for her, and I don't think anyone thought she was going to die.
I mean, I just probably strictly know her from the Golden Girls, which now I believe, right, that is the last of the Golden Girls.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that she would have been, 100 years old here this past 17th, and she's from here in Illinois. The same thing. I mean, I told you earlier, I mean, my grandmother as well would have been 100 years old this past January 1st. So there would have been something in common there. They both would have been 100.
They had the same birthday.
Well, my grandmother.
They have the same birthday?
No.
No, but they in the same year.
Same year.
Same year. So what did you have to talk about? What was your topic? I'm going to save mine for last.
Save your for last. I just thought kind of in the vein of TV and what you're watching. And
I'm going to blow my nose real quick. You talk to the audience.
There's been some interesting stuff on TV here, and I don't know if it was on Netflix. I believe this was available on Hulu. Just started kind of taking a chance on a couple different TV programs, and one of them that I just absolutely fell in love with here was available on Hulu, and it's on ABC, and was called Queens. And if you're not familiar with this TV show, it is about kind of this group of 4 ladies here who reunite. They are in their 40s, in the early aughts, and in the late 90s, they were part of this super group, this super rap group here that had kind of taken over the world. And the TV program kind of picks up, 20 plus years later, kind of after the fame, and let's see where they are now. Let's see where they can go from here. And I just think, from 21 Jump, that the acting here is just, again, over the top, supreme. It involves, the group that it entails here does involve some people that we might recognize. One of them being Eve Cooper. Yeah, that's right. The rapper Eve, she is in this. I just think she's super. You may recognize one, Nadine Velasquez. She is from, I recognize her from My Name is Earl. She is in this as well. Of course, Brandy. That's right.
Let me see if I can pull up Let me see if I can actually pull up.
So again, ABC's one of their newer programs called Queens.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the cast. They're just brilliant. It's brilliant.
I just think, like I said, everybody's acting. Their chops are just for the top. I mean, Naturi Naughton, who is playing Jill the Thrill, one of the 4. I just think some of her acting is just, kind of what she's dealing with as her character, and kind of this, again, even just from visual and what she does with just from looks. I mean, like I said, the acting here, I mean, I'm hooked. I mean, I was hooked from the first show.
So here they are right here. Oops. Okay, so go ahead. I mean, I can show them the cast. So like, this is the cast. Peppy, is it Peppy Sanuga? And then you also had the girl who plays Cupcake, or was it Cupcake?
Little Muffin.
Little Muffin.
That's
Felicia Terrell.
That's Peppy.
That's Peppy Sanuga.
Yeah, that's Little Muffin, who kind of plays this new up and comer who teams up with our ladies and the super group, and it just kind of adds all to the intrigue. And like I said, it's not, to me, it's not just the writing.
No, I mean, I like that it's all black cast, which is great.
Acting that is just, and it gives you some insight, honestly, into that industry. And it's not always, I think, kind of pretty, kind of what they're shining the light on. And I think that's good. Some honesty, some grittiness. Like I kept, telling Megan here, I can't believe this is on ABC.
I know, right? You would think it would be like on Star or like Showtime or something.
The real grittiness, the acting. I mean, it's superb.
So here's like the overview. So it says Brianna, Jill, Valeria, and Naomi once appeared as the Nasty Bitches in the 1990s. Together, the four of them not only turned the world of hip hop upside down, but also achieved legendary status through their music. The four women are now in their 40s, unworldly and largely estranged from one another. By reuniting the four, there is now a chance to return to the old fame and prestige. But will the former megastars, also known as Professor Sex, Butter Pecan, Jill the Thrill, and explicit lyrics, manage to achieve this ambitious goal? And it's interesting because they are right, and they also do covers. They don't do covers, but they use tracks from the 90s, and then they do their own rap.
So that's an interesting thing about the program is right. Not only does there appear to be some original music in it, they kind of, what's the word that I'm looking for? Kind of. There's original music.
They kind of like riff on it. So they use their own. They recompose exactly. So let's say I took a Michael Jackson instrumental music, right, with no lyrics, and I played it. Let's just say that's Thriller. Let's say everyone knows the song, the music, right, or Hotel California. People know that the way the sound is, the way the music is, but I put my own lyrics over it. A lot of it's Missy Elliott music from Lil' Kim.
I mean, we've exactly heard that. I mean,
yeah. We've heard, and I hope that some of them actually appear. I hope Lil' Kim appears.
We're only a couple episodes into this, and we do hope that, with some of the music that they're playing, that they do incorporate some of these artists that are involved with this. I mean, I think that is, an awesome part of it, other than, like we talked about here.
And then you guys can stream it on Hulu. I think we've been watching it on Hulu, right, Matthew?
Like I said, it was Hulu, it's ABC, it's an episode.
Yeah, I'm sure I think there's an app for ABC, right? Yeah. There is a streaming, because we get Hulu. But it is
currently available on
Hulu, YouTube TV, Fubo TV, ABC. And it's all free. I mean, if you have a subscription, you'll be able to watch it 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's rare. That you get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, so Rotten Tomatoes and I are on the same page. I mean, because I feel extremely.
Matthew loves it.
I'm strong.
Matthew's black lesbian inside him.
I mean, I'm very strong with this. Happy. I mean, like I said, the act. I mean, it is for real.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I think that it's really great to be able to do.
Quickly, just to get a little insight.
Yeah.
And just for you want to know more and just to fall in love with each character.
And who doesn't love the 90s hip hop rap scene?
Yeah, I mean, 90s,
knowing the background behind it.
Knowing the background.
And I think also, Matthew, you can agree is that they go forward and back a lot. So they're answering a lot of questions.
Well, like I said,
and you don't understand
the strong writing, the acting, I just think it's really well done the way that it is able to go back
and fill in the blanks. Yeah,
I mean, to me,
you watched it. You watched 3 episodes without me, so I had to rewatch it with him. But
to me, it just further demonstrates the strong acting that when they are able to bounce back and forth.
But it wasn't cheesy. They didn't make it cheesy 90s. They were really keeping up with what was going on in the 90s, MTV Cribs and the touring and the slang that they used, the drug use, all of that.
So I watched everything. 3 episodes, and then I got to watch it again, first 2 again with you, and rewatching those first 2. There's just even some more things. I mean, like I said, that's why I'm just super impressed. I mean, there's just some things that you can pick up on just subtly with the acting that just speaks volumes about these characters, whether it's just a look or
body language,
a little bit of a body language,
or maybe a riff or a dig or something,
or maybe a sentence here or there. I mean, it's just,
or even something you hear going on around them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just
just the climate of that time, right? The 90s, because I think they covered. What was it all the way up until 2000? Not until now, right?
Yeah, I mean,
was it filmed in 2020?
No, it's occurring now, real time.
But they do cover even the aughts. They cover the aughts. They did 2014.
But they go back to the beginning, which is, mid-90s.
But they did do the aughts, too. They did 2014, 2003. Like, they cover 20 years. Is it 20 years, right?
So I'm saying 2 thumbs up if you're looking for a show. If you're looking for some amazing acting and some entertainment, go look out Queens, ABC.
What you watching? Queens.
Because I said so.
Because he said so. So our topic we're going to talk about is Charlie Chaplin. So again, this is another music topic. We did the art and life, and now we're doing music again. And this is Charlie's Demons, the scandalous life and timeless artistry of Charles Chaplin. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because Matthew and I watched a movie. Who played him? Robert Downey Jr., right?
Right. Was it 1990 or 92 movie called Chaplin?
Yeah. So it was one of the few movies that I had never, ever seen. Like, I had never seen it that had Robert Downey Jr. So I was like, wait a second. Like, why isn't this a movie that I've seen? And I would imagine, I think we did do the math, and he might have been like late 20s, early 30s. But I'd never seen it. I was just very surprised. And there's still movies that have actors in it where I'm just like, wait a second. I thought I've seen all their.
Again,
I thought I've seen it all.
Maybe
it wasn't a biopic. It was definitely
yourself,
art,
but it was definitely one of those movies
version.
that put Robert Downey Jr. on the map here.
Yeah.
Obviously, playing an acclaimed figure such as Charles Chaplin there, and it was it was basically kind of about his life, not just about the character, but actually about the man and the person who was behind that character. And it really gave you some insight into that. If you want to compare it now, right, there's a recent movie out about, right, being the Ricardos, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to be something similar to that.
And that was good. I'll probably rewatch it with you.
Oh, you have watched
I watched it. I couldn't help it. I had to.
You watched
I was waiting in line and I watched it.
I don't know if I want to see it.
Boy,
I'm a little
we
mad.
talked about. You watched up without me. I mean, this is the problem. This is problems with marriage. Sometimes
I'm mad about that.
But I have to say, I give Matthew credit because I think a while back we did mention this show on our podcast. There's a lot of stuff that's happening now that I think Matthew and I are like ahead of the curve because we talk about stuff that's upcoming and we tell you guys to watch it. So now this is the time to watch those shows. But I watched Being the Ricardos, and I know Matthew and I talked about upcoming celebrities that are playing characters that we might not think that they would be able to achieve, and Nicole Kidman was casted as her. Just like there was a character that was cast as
Queen Elizabeth. Pennies to rub and give me 2 cents.
So I will tell you this, and I will tell Matthew without spoiling anything. Nicole Kidman fucking killed it.
All right.
Because Matthew and I were talking about. I was on the fence. Matthew was very in support of her being able to play and have the capability. Listen.
I was not in support.
You were on the fence too, but I was in support of it.
I wanted
I think we wanted someone that was funny. We wanted a comedian to do it, but she's not. She was more than that. She was more than just a comedian. She was a woman that was pushing boundaries and not being barefoot and pregnant all the time, and being able to have her own sense of self within this marriage. Obviously, Desi was very supportive of her. In the marriage, she was like, happy wife, happy life, but I also got to do my shit too. But they show aspects of their marriage in the show or the movie. And they also show the production, the way the production's made. They interviewed the actual writers that helped write the scripts for her. And then they had characters that played those actors or those writers. And they also showed the big, white old guys that owned all the networks, which they still do. And just the process of it, but her voice, her mannerisms, just everything. I mean, she killed it. She did an amazing job playing Lucille Ball. And if Lucille Ball was alive right now, I'm pretty sure she'd be very happy about it.
No, well, we've already seen. Maybe we'll Well, I guess we didn't mean to hijack your Charlie Chaplin.
No, it's fine. I mean, I don't mind talking about it.
But maybe another segment in which the granddaughter of her is definitely very approving of it.
She approved of it, and if she's approved of it, then it's obviously a masterpiece.
Is very much so approving of this movie.
Yeah. And they didn't highlight so much on the marriage. They did put that in there when they needed to. I think everything was done very well. Like they did, and then they also had some parts where they showed her reenacting those scenes that we've seen of I Love Lucy, but it was in black and white. She did the same manners. Everything was like to the T perfect. Like whoever directed the movie did an amazing job, and you could tell they put so much money into it, and they did it the right way. And like I said, Nicole Kidman, you did good.
Okay, well, look forward to maybe checking that out.
So watch that. It's Being the Ricardos. It's very good. I think you can watch it on Hulu. You can watch it on Amazon as well. So this is about Charlie Chaplin.
Of course, that's now, but of course, this was released a while ago, but very interesting.
So this article is from 2 years ago, so it's fairly new. It's from Magellan TV. And they mostly write about cinema, old and new. And, when Matthew and I watched the show or watched the movie, I thought it was great. And obviously, I think that they did the makeup really well. They made him actually look like Charlie Chaplin. But they really just showed, like, it was kind of art housey. Like, they kind of showed highlights of his life, right? So they would show him with this woman, and then time would go by, and then they'd show him with this person, and then time would go by. So they didn't really like do detailed biopic type thing. Like, The Harder They Fall wasn't a biopic, but you kind of got the gist of it watching these characters. And then if you would look these characters up, you would know that they were playing these characters, but they were all in like the same, environment together.
No, I don't think they strayed away from.
No, they didn't stray away too much, but
from maybe maybe somebody consider or disapprove of his life there, right?
But the thing is that Matthew and I were watching it, and I couldn't help but Google. Come on, Bubba, you can do it. I couldn't help but Google Charlie Chaplin, because for me, growing up and with my grandparents, I had seen old episodes on the History Channel. I mean, he was on the History Channel, talking about, because he lived up until the late 70s, and he was born in 1919 or something like that, something crazy. Like he was born like several years before my grandpa was born. So the fact that he lived through 2 world wars and it's 3 wars actually. It would be,
he's from England, and
he was from England, and he was banned from America eventually, and he grew up during that time where it was funny to use your body as comedy, right? Like physical humor. But he grew up during the silent era, so everything that was filmed didn't have sound, right? So he was able to be this person that could use his body for physical humor. And he grew up with, a lot of struggle. He grew up poor. His mother, they were taken away from his mother. He and his brother were taken away from his mother when he was very young. His mother ended up in a nut house because, well, to be honest, she was very disturbed. But he kept in touch with her all the time, and his brother kind of became his manager and managed him. And he was doing physical humor when the world needed that. They needed to laugh. They needed to feel something. They needed to feel, happy. They needed entertainment. So he started in the theater world, and then he went from theater to editing movies, right? And movies were not popular back then. It was weird. It was like, why would you be in a moving picture? Why won't you just be in the theater? Because people go to see you in the theater, and it's in the moment. Sometimes it's scripted. Sometimes it's not. Movies are edited, right? And they take time to make. And they're moving pictures, but they don't have sound. So he was around that time where he went from theater to editing to acting and then directing. So he ended up getting his own huge studio and directing his own masterpieces. And finally, when he was well known enough, people loved his shit. Like no one ever was like, "Oh my God, I hate this. It's terrible." Like he grew up doing what he was doing during the time where it was needed. And he was so lucky to be in that trend, to be able to be doing what he wanted to do when he wanted to do it. But I looked him up, and they did not show this in the movie. He was kind of a bastard. He was a womanizer.
They, I think, insinuated that in the movie.
There was some sexual assault involved. There was abortions involved. There was, treating people like shit.
As deep as
there
they
was embezzling.
Could have.
He had some people that he did business with who he betrayed.
Think he was a saint by any stretch.
No, but he also was an artist, so he was very fluid. He had a lot of demons, and he was banned from America. He betrayed former associates. He earned the attention of law enforcement for his scandalous personal life, which they did show a scene in the movie where he was like avoiding the police, he hid projects, like he would start a project with an associate and then steal the project and then put it up himself and never give anyone credit for it. He also avoided taxes. He avoided paying taxes. He also earned the attention of law enforcement for vocal support of the Soviet operatives in Hollywood, which, in the 50s
they
to the
accused
60s,
him of being communist.
Everyone thought, and I have to say that ties in with the Lucy Ball movie, because they thought she was communist as well.
Anybody they didn't like, that pretty much was the.
I think they also confused communism for socialism, because socialism for communism, because socialists believe that everyone deserves everything, right?
No, we have states that are very socialist. Whatever.
So it says that in 1952, he was 63 years old, or 63-year-old silent movie star Charlie Chapman snuck aboard the Grand Ocean liner RMS Queen Elizabeth, which was docked in New York City. He was a paying stowaway on a journey to his native England, from which he knew would not soon, if ever, return. Joined several hours by his wife and children, and it is a strangely paranoid departure. He also dated women that were very young, much younger than him, which I don't want to defend him, but it was part of that environment. I mean, Matthew joked that like everyone died at 30, but like I was like, no. I mean, he obviously died at 85. So like, let's be honest, he was just a predator.
Even in his more mature years, he was still all right. You know what I mean? I mean, he was still going after a certain age.
Yeah, but it says, okay, so like, I'm not going to share this whole article because you guys can read it, but the gist of it is that, he definitely.
I mean, he's an interesting character.
And he also had artistic control of all his films, which is rare.
And very influential.
Yeah, he was probably the first director who realized that the film itself was cheap, and he would commonly shoot 30,000 feet of it to get the 1,700 he knew would make a perfect two-reeler. So imagine, like, back then, they had to cut film. They had to actually physically cut it. Put it together. So, I mean, now you can just go on your Adobe or your whatever it is and edit it with a click of a button. This was actually cutting it. And, so he was controversial. It says that he wrote letters from England with white feathers symbolizing cowardice enclosed, but his situation was complicated. A clause in his mutual contract forbade him to leave the U.S., which he accepted with relief because he was boycotted by many theaters in England for not returning home to serve the British Army. So he evaded World War I. Basically, he avoided, being drafted into the war.
Well, I mean, he had presented himself as this everyday man, and then obviously when World War I struck, being from England,
you didn't have a choice. Yeah,
everyday man was going to war, except for he was in the Americas making films and making $1 million a year, when everyday man in England was poor and suffering from World War I.
Well, it says once America was drawn into the Great War, Chaplin finessed his opposition to it by registering for the draft, failing his physical, and raising money for the U.S. war bonds by making appearances at rallies and shooting a promotional film. He was quickly accepted as a critical morale booster. His film was about a character in the uniform, Soldier Arms, appeared in 1918 and was most popular movie into the point. with amiable gags about basic training, life in the trenches, and stereotypically burning Germans is a milestone in propaganda. Because he did write, he talked about, Hitler.
Yeah.
And he was kind of making fun of Hitler, and his brother was his manager at the time.
Well, he made the movie that was making fun of Hitler right there.
And his brother was like, you can't do that. Like, they won't let you do that. And he's like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm gonna do what I want. And that's the artistic mind right there, is you'll never know why I'm doing this. You don't understand why I'm doing this.
That's what the movie there, Chaplin there, starring Robert Downey Jr. does dive into.
Yeah, so I want you guys to kind of like absorb this picture.
I mean, he's an interesting, like you said,
he did the mustache before Hitler did. I'm sorry. Hitler stole his look. Who wore it better? Who wore it better?
He couldn't wear it anymore. Too soon.
Yeah, so this is like, the Charlie Chaplin filming The Gold Rush. So, I mean, troubles with IRS. I mean, it's amazing. I'm going to share this. I'm going to put this in the chat. So you guys
don't get to probably be as big as a character as he is without these legendary stories. So, yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, so I'll put this in the comments and stuff so you guys can see what, you guys can see it. And you guys will be able to read for yourself. But I thought it was interesting. Like, he definitely just... All scandalous stuff aside, I mean, this is him. Look at that shit. Like, it's just...
Yeah, I mean, he's making fun of Hitler here. I mean, we know that.
They showed a scene where he was, like, kicking, like, a globe that was, like, kind of like a balloon that had, like, the world on it. Like, he just thinks that he can just, like, kick everybody around and, like, treat everyone like shit. I mean, he was a true artist, really. But the fact that he was... doing tightroping, I mean, he was doing stuff that was really dangerous. And also, like, the way that he films things, like, he filmed model, like, houses and airplanes and just it. But then they also filmed the scene where he was made a set that, like, replicated where he was. It made it look very real. Like, his perspective on real life things with humor, and then understanding how a prop works and how you would make it look real. That's amazing back then, because everything was handmade, everything was built, there was no CGI. Like, you had to make it look real and be believable, but also give people something to laugh about and feel good about. And sometimes there were sad moments. Like, he also included scenes from when he was a child and he was abandoned. I mean, he had a child actor that was, like, being separated from his father, which in his world, it was his mother. And then, like, they reunited. It was just, I cried because I was like, oh my gosh, like, the fact that they treated kids like shit back then, like, they didn't care. Like, he ended up working for his father's, what was his father doing? It was like a shipyard or something. And they worked those kids to the bone because they're all orphans. So, like, we can treat you like shit because
there are labor laws, child labor laws, no such thing as children, back then.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you guys should definitely watch this. Okay, so yeah, he died in 1977. So I mean, he just lived through so many eras of revolution and change, and self-acceptance, self-exploration, and fear, and just a whole lot of craziness. I mean, from the early 1900s to the 70s. I mean, no one will ever really be able to live the way that he lived and the way that most people lived during that time, because that was when America was starting to form and starting to figure out politics and figure out human rights. I mean, this was during the time in the 70s where they had the Equal Rights Act, for women all over the world, all over the country, the ERA and Black Panthers. And I mean, he lived through all of that. So to be able to say that he lived during the birthplace of politics and the change of revolution and the change of, Hollywood and film and art. I mean, I can honestly separate the artist from the person. His personal life means nothing to me. And honestly, when he died, we saw, like, in the video, in the movie, he actually took care of everyone when he died. Everyone got paid. Everyone got taken care of. Everyone that he ever crossed, except for the IRS. But whatever. Fuck them. The government, they didn't get shit. But he took care of everybody. His mistresses, his wife, his colleagues, everyone got what they deserved, right? So he didn't die in vain. He died knowing, like, hey, I fucked up. I'm going to make up for it. And everyone was taken care of. But I thought that Robert Downey Jr. did a splendid job.
Yeah, I mean, like we said, it's obviously nothing, not a new movie, but one that if you are not aware that is out there, yeah, go check that out.
So that's another What You're Watching. You can watch it on Hulu and Amazon. I think we found it on Netflix.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great movie. I think it's called Chaplin, right?
Chaplin.
It's called Chaplin.
Robert Downey Jr.
So Queens and Chaplin, you guys should watch for sure.
Check them out.
And yeah, so we want to tell you guys to get your booster shots.
Get them boosted.
Be safe, be happy, enjoy the new year. And yeah, we love you guys.
Love you.
I'm Megan.
I'm Matt.
And you're watching
The Night Owl.